McIntyre, who happens to be the president of the Eastern United States Tennis Association,
Yes, the USTA Eastern Section.
the Eastern section.
We're one of 17 sections across the nation that operate under the USTA umbrella.
The relationship in terms of how that umbrella is really structured, it's basically different areas in the country.
Right, there is a national organization, a national office that oversees all of the operations and things like the U.S. Open and so forth. But there are also 17 independent sections geographically divided across the country. Eastern comprises New York State, northern half of New Jersey, and a small slice of suburban Connecticut.
What I really enjoy about the United States Tennis Association's method of inclusion, if I may say, is that there has been a thorough process developed for people who are brand new to the idea of involving tennis in their lifestyle, a chance to really get on board as quickly as they possibly can. Can you give us an idea exactly what are those elements that help make an individual or a club or an athletic program able to accomplish an opportunity to get involved very quickly?
Well, that's we struggle with that every day. That is not an easy question to answer. Our job at the moment is try to convince organizations, educational organizations, community organizations, that it is very worthwhile. There's a great deal of value in incorporating tennis as a program into what they're offering the communities which they serve. It's a great character building sport. I think it's unique among sports. For that, it's a healthy sport. There's a lot of activity. It's not like baseball where you stand, at least I did as a child, stand in right field for, or wait for the ball to get hit to you, or in other innings, sitting down waiting for your turn at bat. And it's a sport for a lifetime. I'm nearly 60 years old. I play tennis 4 or 5 times a week. I don't play baseball anymore. I don't play basketball. So it's something you can carry with you and enjoy and stay healthy your entire life. So we think it has a great deal of value. We would love to work with community organizations, YMCAs, schools, churches, anything, to get more and more youth and young adults and old adults playing our sport.
The theme this year is really developing ways in which we can get more people actively involved. What are some of the areas that are going to be a priority as the year go by?
Well, one of our biggest priorities at both the national level, and here at Eastern, we're embracing this wholeheartedly, is an outreach to Hispanic families. It's the biggest growing demographic in the country. It's a particularly large one in our section in the Northeast, and polls, surveys tell us that there is a higher level of interest among Hispanic families who don't play tennis, interested in playing tennis. That doesn't mean we're going to turn away our focus from our traditional commitment to trying to get more blacks playing tennis in our community too. I think we've been fairly successful with that, but there's a lot more that we can do. But Hispanic outreach is our big one right now.
When the idea of looking at it from diversity and finding other areas of inclusion when it comes to cultural and ethnicity, we also have recognized that there is a tremendous amount of time being spent on the new dynamics of tennis, where you have the different groups such as the 10 and under and others in relationship to wanting to improve activities and ways in which individuals can participate. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about the dynamics of the 10 and under program?
Okay, well, so this is fairly new, but maybe 5 years old. It's a fantastic idea. You don't have to have it. Basically, the central theme is You don't need to have a full-size tennis court to play tennis. You can play tennis in the cafeteria. You can play tennis on the street. You can play tennis in the school gym. We have designed equipment, scalable equipment, small rackets, foam balls, felt balls, low compression balls, smaller size nets, smaller size courts, where tennis among the 10 and under can be played in much smaller areas. And it can be played indoors. You don't have to go to an expensive tennis club to play indoors under a bubble. You can play on the park playground. You don't have to. Your park doesn't have to have a 78-foot tennis court. You can play on the playground. We're trying to get playgrounds lined, 36-foot courts, 60-foot courts, provide them with nets and rackets. So, and it's working. I think there is an explosion in youth tennis now as a result of these efforts. We're doing a big promotional campaign. We're offering equipment. We're trying to teach or preach the message that tennis can be played anywhere, and it's a lot of fun.
Which is really something interesting, because we've noticed that there are opportunities now where individuals are playing the game at parties. They're able to involve not only 10 and under, but adults, because of the skill set that's applied, that it gives an opportunity for individuals who are not really as energetic as the full court exercises are able to play. But how do you accomplish a competitive level in this new type of equipment process?
That's a good question. You're exactly right. While what we were talking about earlier was designed for 10 and under, we're starting to recognize that these same techniques, these same small courts, these same low compression balls, adults can use the same in smaller venues, or as beginners, or it's easier to learn tennis with these tools. And you are bringing up a good point about what is our involvement in the next step in creating competitive environments for these things. And we're in the process of reviewing that and trying to establish a competitive network right now with that. That's sort of the next phase. I don't know that we're there yet, but we're seeing that as the next frontier, the next possibility. We do have 10 and under tournaments. We do have small court tournaments, orange ball, that was the 60-foot court tournaments. We do have 36-foot court tournaments, but at the moment the competitive structure still involves exclusively with the children of an age group for which those were designed. But there's a lot more that we can do with the adults too, seniors, disabled, and just regular people who don't have access to a tennis court, but will have to play it in a smaller, more enclosed environment.
We also recognize that you're making a very thorough effort to involve the education community more with the tennis program. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, our big priority is to introduce tennis to schools. I get schools to introduce tennis to kids. We have a 10-year plan where we hope to have tennis in every elementary, middle, and high school as an option for kids to encounter. We'd like to mainstream the sport, and we think the best place to do that is where kids go to school. All kids go to school. We also have a network of national junior tennis and learning organizations who connect tennis and education. They work on the two areas together in combination. We do believe that tennis can be a very valuable educational tool. It's a great after-school activity, and it's a great in-school activity for gym PE classes. A